Hey guys, so today's video is going to be me sitting down doing my makeup, and I'm going to get deep into some industry questions that you guys have. I asked on Twitter and Instagram this morning, and I said, are there any juicy industry topics that you wish were discussed more on YouTube? Anything in particular that you'd want to see a video diving deeper into? And a bunch of different things came up, so I obviously can't discuss every single one of them today, but I think it could be fun to, at times, do this, to go in and talk about things that are kind of hush hush or people don't feel like they have the full information on. I'm not somebody that knows all that much. I don't live in LA. I have been doing this since 2008 years. Oh my God. So I do know a lot about the behind the scenes in the industry and stuff like that. And I'm pretty much an open book. So I'm going to get into a lot of your guys' questions about the industry. I've done videos like this in the past and I love doing them. I made a video I don't know when it was, maybe like 6 months, a year ago, all about sponsorships. I'm going to link that video up here, but it was like deep diving into sponsorships and your questions and things like that regarding all of the topics surrounding like money and talking points and all that kind of stuff. So if you want a deeper dive into that, I will link that video up here. I had a really bad attack this morning, so if my face looks really fucked up on this side and my hair looks weird, because there was a heating pad on my face all morning and an ice pack, and it's just been a day. So I think I'm going to keep people's questions anonymous. I think most people would prefer that. So first question is, how much money do YouTubers make? How much do YouTubers get paid for sponsorships? And how much commission do influencers get from brands when someone uses their code? So this can vary bigly from one person to another, and it's not always based on subscribers either. That's what's really interesting is when I didn't have the same reach that I have now, I was always under the impression that like the more subscribers you have, the more money you make. And while that is true in some regards, it's not always the case. There are some people who kind of have a smaller following at sometimes and can make big money. I'm talking like millions of dollars a year. And there are also subsequently people who have humongous followings who don't. And I think a lot of it comes down to engagement. So there will be some people that like have really high engagement but a smaller follower count. So like say they may only have 50,000 subscribers, but they get like an average of 500,000 views per video because their videos keep getting on the recommended page. Those type of people may make way more money on AdSense than other people of way higher following that get less views. And what's weird about YouTube is that it is based on views, but it's also based on CPM, which is like I don't really know what it means, but like it's like the ad rates per YouTuber. It also has to do with like the amount of ads that they put in their video. There are just so many factors. Like a video of mine that gets, let's say like 800,000 views might make less money than a video of mine that gets 250,000 views, depending on the amount of ads, viewer retention, what ads and like ad amounts and stuff like that YouTube wants to put on it. There's really no set amount and you have no idea what it's going to come out to. It's just so random. Like I can't put my finger on it. I wish I knew how that whole thing works, but I really don't. So it can widely vary. I would say YouTubers make a lot of money. It also depends on the person because there are some people on YouTube or Instagram or whatever who accept a lot more sponsored content than other people, and that can make your yearly income like skyrocket. So if you ever see people who accept a lot of sponsorships or are doing sponsored deals all the time, they could be making way more money than somebody that's not. And you know, it's really hard to say because some people accept way less per sponsorship. People on social media doing this as a job can make anywhere from a few $1,000s a month to hundreds of $1,000s per month. I mean, it's literally like so variant. And I've known people that like you think are rolling in it that really aren't. And then vice versa, people who are kind of smaller that are like making big money. So it's really hard to say. I mean, Social Blade is a decent look at somebody's AdSense earnings. It's not always correct at all. Social Blade can be really, really wrong. Like sometimes it can be way higher than the people make. I've talked to some people and been like, hey, is this about accurate for you? And they're like, absolutely not. I make triple that, or, oh, I make half that. So it's really kind of guessing. How much money do YouTubers get paid for sponsorships and how much commission do influencers get from brands? So if somebody's using like a code, let's say that you have a code with a brand, sometimes those are discount codes for the subscriber, but the other person doesn't get commission from those. And sometimes they do. Just really depends on the brand and the agreement that they have. But like most of the time, the influencer, YouTuber, whoever you want to call them. I don't know. I hate the word influencer so much, but it's like the word people use. So it's usually like 10%. Sometimes it could be 8%. Sometimes it's 15. Sometimes it's 20. I would say an average number is 10%. So that is kind of across the board, I feel like a pretty common figure for the person whose code you're using to get about 10% of the purchase. Not always, but most of the time I feel like that's about average. How much money do people get paid per sponsorship? That really depends, because it depends on what the brand is asking for. Sometimes they want like a non-exclusive YouTube video and they're looking for like a 60-second or 90-second integration, meaning like you only have to talk about the brand for 90 seconds and you can talk about other brands in the video. And then sometimes they want an exclusive YouTube video. Sometimes they want a non-exclusive YouTube video plus stories plus an Instagram post. So it varies widely with the content that is required for the sponsorship and the amount of money. It can be small. It can also be massive. It really varies depending on the brand's budget, the scope, the negotiation, all of that. I have managers that do all of that for me now, which is really, really fantastic because they know like rates and stuff. And I am not good at fighting for myself or like negotiating. I'm just not one of those people. I can't do it without being like, oh yeah, I'll do 10 times more than you asked for half the amount. Like that's the kind of person that I generally am. And that wasn't going very well for me because that's not the way that the industry generally works. I could say it could vary depending on the follower size as well. Like somebody that has, 50 million followers is going to get way more money than somebody with 50,000. But it just really depends. You can go on a website called Social Blue Book, and it used to be free. I think they charge for it now, which really sucks because it was so beneficial and helpful when it was free. But basically it's a website where you connect your Instagram account, your YouTube account, and all that kind of stuff. And it will tell you how much you can charge like on the low end and high end for certain types of posts, like a dedicated YouTube video where that's literally you just talking about that brand. And I generally am very anti-dedicated YouTube videos. I've done a few and I just don't like them. A lot of times they feel too sales pitchy to me. And so I just feel like an integrated video where I'm like, hey, I'm going to be doing a full face makeup. I'm also going to be trying this foundation that I've been testing for the last few months from XYZ brand and give you some talking points about it and stuff like that. That's way more my style than it is to have a full video dedicated to this one product and talk about nothing else. Some brands like those, but most brands have shied away from that because I feel like they are well aware that it just comes off like one giant ad and nobody wants that. Well, the brand might, but I don't. Okay, someone says, what really happens on these brand trip parties? So I've only been on 2 brand trips in my life, and both heavily enjoyed. I love them so much. But I feel like I am the minority here. Sometimes people really dislike brand trips, and I've heard a lot of negative things come out of them. Now, either I am just incredibly oblivious or I am just steering clear of it without realizing it. I don't have a bad time on these. I'm having the best time of my life. But then again, I go into it wanting to have the time of my life. So how brand trips are is you get there and you mingle with everybody, like, because everybody gets flown in pretty much around the same time. And you usually unpack in your room. And then that first evening is like everybody gets together and kind of meets one another. And you kind of are greeting with the brand and being like, hey, and everyone, it's like, we're here. It's just so exciting. And like the first night when I went to Mexico with Pure and BoxyCharm, that was what they did. They had like an introductory dinner and we all got to meet everybody. And it was like totally chill and fine. And then on the Tarte one was the same way. We went on a boat that first night and you get to meet everybody. And it's just really widely varied by the type of people that are on the trip and the brand itself. I have nothing but good things to say about the trips I've been on. There've definitely been a little bit of drama associated with each one, and I steer clear of that. I'm just somebody that, like, when I see something going on, I just back away slowly and pineapple, oh, that way. That's the kind of person that I am. I just don't want to be involved. It has nothing to do with me, and so I don't want to involve myself at all. I can tell you that I've had nothing but positive experiences with people on the trips personally, but I've seen other things not be that way, so I won't sit here and be like, oh no, they're just great all around. I mean, they are for me. Like, I enjoy them and have the funnest time, but I'm also one of those people that's just like, when shit's going down, I'm just like, huh? Oh. That way? I'll be there. I'm sorry, that's the kind of person that I am. Yeah, they're fun though. I mean, you get different personalities. That's the difference, is that sometimes people have different personalities than somebody that you generally would hang out with. And that's kind of true for getting a group of people together in any capacity. You're always going to have people that you jive with and people that you don't. And my personal philosophy is hang out with the people you jive with and don't hang out with the people that you don't. So that's generally how I look at things. It can be really awkward to try to get to know people, but like that's why, I mean, generally these trips allow you to bring a +1, and I always do. I bring my husband. So it's never awkward or weird because I always have him to turn to if things are getting awkward or weird. I am not super outgoing. I wouldn't call myself an introvert, but I wouldn't call myself an extrovert. I'm kind of right in the middle. I can be both. I can be completely in the center of attention, like, woo! Or I could be in the background, like, I'm kind of both people. I would say that the brands sort of, they coordinate things each day because they want to keep things flowing and fun for everybody. When we went with Pure and BoxyCharm, they scheduled like a day where we went on a boat and we went out and had drinks and stuff like that. And I got a little bit boat sick, but you know, what's new? What's new? Christy getting sick? Shocking. Never happened before. They also, like with the Tarte trip, they did like a zip lining day and stuff like that. And then you do get downtime and free time as well, but you kind of have like coordinated scheduled activities on the trip. Obviously you have like posting requirements as well, posting a few pictures while you're there and hashtagging the brand like tripping with Tarte or whatever. Some people have wildly different experiences on these trips. I've had people on the same trips as me have negative experiences. While I had like the best, most fun time, other people had a terrible time. And it's really, you know, each person's experience is their own. You might have somebody that's incredibly introverted, and you might even have two people that went on the exact same excursion, talked to the same people, and both interpreted things a completely different way. And that's where it's really difficult because one person in that scenario isn't wrong. It's just a different interpretation of the experience. You'll see different personalities on the trip too. Like some people are wild. I'm talking wild. Getting absolutely hammered in the middle of the day, like just shot. And then you have some people that are really introverted and they kind of hang out on the sidelines and they're just sort of doing their own thing. You may not even see him that often, barely has a conversation, not negative or rude, just kind of really standoffish because everyone has different personalities. And then you kind of have those mid people that sort of bounce between. I am sort of one of those people. I'm just like, I'm down to do whatever. I'm down to not do whatever. Let's hang out. Let's not hang out. I'm kind of one of those people. So I generally have a different experience than some other people on the trip. Like you'll hear me a lot of the times be like, I had the best time. That's because I did have the best time. And I was kind of oblivious to maybe some other things that were going on because maybe it's somebody I didn't talk to, or maybe it's somebody I had a really short interaction with. And I generally keep things pretty like lighthearted and surface level. So I have a really good time on brand trips, but I've seen drama happen and I'm like, that's all I can really say. But I think everyone's experience is their own. And if somebody has a bad time or had a really negative experience or had a conversation that other people aren't aware of, like that could have completely ruined their time. So everybody's experience is their own. And I can only speak for myself. Anytime I've ever been on one, and I've only ever been on two, I've had like the best time. So yeah. But maybe that would change, you know, the more I went on, because like I've really barely ever traveled in my life. So the only times I've really traveled to like really cool, tropical, awesome locations have been on these brand trips. So they've been kind of a first for me. Like I had really never been on a beach before I went to Mexico with Pure and BoxyCharm. Like that was the first time. And it was so exciting for me. Like I was cloud nine crying, like having the best time of my life the entire time I was there. And maybe I would have felt different if I had been a bunch of places with a bunch of brands before that, but I hadn't. I'd only ever been on these trips, and so for me they're like the first times, like first time in Hawaii, first time in Mexico, first time on beaches, first time drinking pineapple Mai Tais. Like how could you have a bad time? I was just like cloud nine, enjoying my life. It was the best. But they can definitely be dramatic. People can definitely be standoffish. People can also be incredible and fun. You have to just use your best judgment. I feel like I'm a decent judge of character, and I can kind of tell when I want to steer clear of somebody if the conversations they're having are very gossipy or surface level that I just don't really care about. I just am sort of like, hey, okay, it's so nice to meet you. Out of here. So that's how I judge things, but I also am like kind of oblivious to shit like that going on because I just don't, I don't know. I guess that's just who I am. This person says the 30% rule and the culture between big gurus and little ones made me stop watching a lot of YouTubers after I heard about how they treated people who had smaller followings than them. And someone said, what is the 30% rule? And someone replied with, you don't hang out with anyone who has 30% less or more followers than you on social media. Now, I can say from just personally, and I'm not really in the crowd of social media. I live in Washington State. Yeah, I'm not in like influencer culture. I don't live in LA. I barely hang out with people. I've never heard of this in my life. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've literally never heard of it. The 30% rule. It certainly could exist. I literally don't know. I wish I could tell you. I have never heard of it, and I've never heard of one person being like, no, I'm not going to hang out with them. They don't have enough followers. I haven't experienced that, but I also don't hang out with people really that often, so I can't be the one to confirm nor deny. And if somebody does employ that rule, you're a weirdo. Are there any conspiracies for exposure, fake drama between influencers, etc.? You know, I might not be the one to answer that question. I don't know. But I'm also I don't really talk to anybody. Maybe I'm not the best person to be making this video. I'm sure it happens. Like, I've seen things on social media where, like, I'm throwing some lip gloss on because my lips are raw beauty crusty as hell. But I totally believe that there are, like, fake things on the internet for exposure, 100%. I don't know if it's that often in the beauty space. I don't really see things that often. The drama that usually surrounds beauty is, like, about product or friendships and stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of those are real, and especially given that I know a lot of the behind the scenes people, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of those were real. I definitely believe that on social media in general, there's fake shit for clout, and it's embarrassing, and you should be ashamed of yourself, you weirdos. What really goes into being on a PR list? Like, what is actually expected of you? Are you obligated to post about the PR that you receive, and are you compensated beyond the product itself? So what goes into being on a PR list? I can only speak for myself. Again, I know that other people do post for product, and in the beginning I did because I was trying to grow, and a lot of brands in the beginning, when you are a smaller creator, that is kind of how they will offer to work with you, is like, hey, I'll send you this product if you post about it. And when you're kind of new and in the beginning, you're like, fuck yeah. I haven't done that for a really long time, but some brands will ask, and I just simply say you can send your PR for consideration. That doesn't guarantee a post. It just means that, like, I'll try it. If I like it, I'll talk about it, and if I don't, I won't. And that's how I believe that things should be done. I think that nobody should do work for free. There are people out there that are better at explaining this than I, but I can say that it doesn't matter if you are, to me, it doesn't matter if you are a quote unquote micro influencer or not. You are a human with talent and skill, and you also should be paid for your time. So I don't believe that people should be working for free or for product, but if you want to do that, that's totally your prerogative. But I just don't do it personally. For me, I barely have ever had brands expect posts because of PR. You do have some that will reach out and be like, hey, just want to know how you like the product. I would love to, see your thoughts. For me, I think that PR is generally considered a gift. And that is because, if I don't like something, I'm not going to recommend it to my followers. And I don't know, it's a fine line, because some people think that if you are on PR or if you don't post about it, you're being entitled. I don't think so, because, I generally run under the mindset that brands aren't people, and brands don't have like personal feelings like that in mind. Generally, it's about the bottom line, and the bottom line is make money. If they're sending you product, they're hoping that you post about that product because they want to make more money. But if you don't like it, you don't need to post about it, and you shouldn't let a brand bully you or guilt you into that. Just don't sign anything saying that you will, and say, oh, send me PR for consideration. I have managers now that deal with all of that stuff, but I have had brands be like, hey, why aren't you posting about this? Can you post about it? And I'm like, way less likely to talk about it if you're gonna hound me. I don't know. I talk about things that I like when I want to, because at the end of the day, my loyalty lies with you guys and not brands. That's always how I felt, and that's always how I'll keep it. I obviously don't want to have awkward interactions with brands, but most of the time they don't care. Like, they're sending it to you in hopes that you'll post about it, and if you do, they're generally very thankful. But at the same time, I don't post about things to make brands happy. I post about things because I think you'll either like them, because I like them, because it's being requested. But whether it was sent in PR or not, for me, I am always very honest. I'm not concerned about getting taken off a PR list. Have I been taken off? Yes, absolutely. I don't talk about it generally because I just don't care. Like, if I want the makeup, I'll buy it. If I don't, and if it gets sent to me in PR, fantastic. But I'm not going to be guilted into posting about something just because it was sent into PR, which really doesn't happen all that often. Are you compensated beyond the product itself? So sometimes brands will send things in PR. If you like them, they'll like want to do a sponsored campaign with you, but that's all separate. It's not like under the PR scope. Sometimes brands will be like, say that a brand wants to work with me. They'll send me the product ahead of time if I like it and I've tried it out enough and I feel like confident in talking to my subscribers about it. If they have a campaign going on, then they'll reach out and ask me like, hey, we have a campaign going on in April and we would love to partner with you regarding this new product. Do you feel comfortable? Here are the talking points, here are the deliverables. You can negotiate back and forth on that, and then just everything else is gravy, baby. How about overly edited makeup looks? I think they balance on a thin line to not be considered false advertising, but lots of brands seem to love them. I don't know how I feel about it. I think there's a lot of over editing that happens. Yeah, it gets reposted a lot more. You're more likely to get posted if your pictures are like flawless and perfect and incredibly edited. But for me, I personally don't love them. I think it's very obvious when somebody over edits and they have that perfect shiny white highlight and like the absolute most flawless skin you've ever seen and no pores and all that stuff. I feel like brands do like that. Obviously, it makes their products look the best that it can be done. I don't over edit my pictures at all online, and I rarely get reposted from brands. I don't care. I personally don't care if I get reposted. That's not like ever my goal on Instagram. Instagram is more of like a fun outlet for me. Some people take it very seriously as part of their job, and I do. I love posting on Instagram. I think it's really fun. I personally don't sit there and agonize over what my feed looks like or about what I'm gonna post. I just post what I want to when I want to, and that's sort of the way that I do things. So I don't really care if brands repost me or not, and I don't over edit my photos. Like, I don't overly smooth my skin or anything like that or change my makeup. There are some people that dead ass like edit makeup on, and I think that's really weird. But you know, I think that people tend to like it. Like, I think that those pictures get more likes and engagement and more overall are more appreciated on the platform. So I think that's why people do it. I don't know. I wish it weren't that way, but it is that way. I've seen some things that are so incredibly heavily edited that I'm like, okay, come on. Like, I know it's like aesthetically pleasing, but to me, I've seen a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people not notice it, but like fully editing on makeup, like changing colors completely. Some of the before and afters that I've seen, I'm like, holy fucking shit. And I mean, editing is not bad. I think editing photos is actually one of my favorite things to do, but I think that I used to really highly like contrast and really whiten my eyes and change a lot about things like back in the day. But as I've gone on, I actually like the look of an unedited photo way more. I mean, I can appreciate like a heavily edited photo. I just think that it's become like the standard, and if you don't do it, then you're less likely to get reposted and stuff like that, which I think is kind of stupid. It's super unrealistic to how things look in real life anyway. I don't have like a ton of opinion about it because I don't pay that close of attention to it, but I have noticed that if you're not like insanely heavily edited, you're a lot less likely to get reposted, and brands seem to really prefer those type of photos, which is kind of sad for the people that, you know, are just trying to show you what the real makeup looks like. But you know, editing is an art form in and of itself, but I think that, you know, it's just the way of the gram. That was all Twitter. Let's check Instagram. Do people feel obligated to say something nice about a product when it's sent to them? I mean, certainly some influencers might. I don't. It doesn't make a difference for me because some products just aren't good. I don't really know any other way to put it than to say, I feel like it doesn't help the brand to not give like constructive feedback. Like me talking about the plastic packaging that ColourPop has been using sometimes. That has nothing to do with like dislike or anything like that for ColourPop. It's just a personal opinion, and I think that that's what's helpful. If all of us were just like, love it, perfect, then, you know, how is a brand ever to improve or to see different sides? I don't think that they take that and like hate people for being honest. Honest, constructive feedback seems a lot of times very appreciated by the brands. I've very rarely had one reach out to me and be upset about what I've said. Some of them have, but it's pretty rare. Like, I feel like most of the time it's just a known fact that people are going to like things from your brand and some people are not going to like things. There have been many products from brands that I absolutely love that I don't jive with, you know, and that's just the name of the game. Some products are like absolutely incredible and I love them so much, and then some are like meh, and you know, you got to know that, and I think brands and most companies know that. Some get real salty over it, but you know, fuck out of here. Do I have good friendships with other YouTube influencers? Yeah, This is how I feel about most people in the industry, and it's really kind of the case for me. I don't live in the same state as most of them, so my relationships are a lot more acquaintance than they are friend. Now, I consider a lot of these people my buddies, my friends, but I have like friends who like I would tell my deepest darkest secrets to, and most of those people are not YouTubers or like influencers. No shade to them at all. It's just I don't like usually, I don't know, I just sort of keep to myself, and I have my husband that I talk to. But yeah, I have pretty good relationships with most people in the industry. There are some that I don't like talk shit to or about. I just don't talk to them. I don't talk about them. I don't give it my time, because I'm not going to waste my time living in a negative space regarding people that I just don't jive with. I just simply move along. I've said jive like 8,000 times in this video, but I simply just move along. That's how I tend to live my life with people in my real life. If I don't get along with you, or if I feel like our personalities just don't mesh, I just simply talk to somebody whose personality I do mesh with. I feel like I have a decent relationship with most people that I've talked to. Whether or not they feel the same about me, I can't say, but that's not for me to know. If they talk shit about me behind my back or don't like me for some reason or another, you know, that's their prerogative. But for me, I just sort of get along with most people. That's how I feel. And if I don't particularly like them or something that they have done, I just simply carry on living my life. Are any of these people real? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There are a lot of really real and honest people. I feel like a lot of times it's really hard to be just dead ass yourself on the internet. I don't know. It's just the more you grow, the more it gets scary. I feel like there are a lot of really honest and real people in the industry. A lot of people guard themselves heavily. I can tell you from what I've seen in person, people are guarded heavily and discuss very different things outside of YouTube than they do on the platform. I wish more people were just more open about everything, but the reality is it's very scary to do so on the internet. It's just like a nerve-wracking thing to be very vulnerable with a huge group of people and feeling like you're just saying things, and you know, it's really awkward, like when you've talked shit about a company before, and even if it's not meant to be in a very negative way, but when you've talked shit on a brand or company or a product before, and then you meet with people in real life, and a lot of these people live in LA and are mingling, you know, elbow to elbow with these people and these brands all the time, so it would be a lot more awkward to say something negative about a product or a company when you are talking to the people that run it often. But I will say that yeah, there's a lot of really real people, but again, most of my conversations have been relatively surface level with a lot of people. I tend to generally keep it that way for myself, and I've noticed that a lot of other people do as well. I think because it's kind of hard to know who to trust in the industry. Not shit talking anybody or anything like that. I just think that a lot of times we've seen like huge catastrophic blowups of friendships, so it feels like people are pretty guarded. Some people will say things sort of a little less surface level sometimes, but most of the time it kind of stays, for at least for me, relatively like weather conversations, you know what I mean? I mean, not nearly on that level, but I think that a lot of times people seem to be more guarded, and I think that that is sort of a result of the things that have happened in this space. For me, I definitely stay a little bit more guarded, and I kind of only really open up fully to like my best friends IRL. But other people, you know, I've like, we've had deep conversations and stuff, but I think that a lot of the people I've met in this industry are really great. Some are the worst. But, you know, a lot of times you can judge that for yourself and kind of see how people are. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes people that seem the best online are the worst in real life, and vice versa. So just really depends. Like, I've met some people that are like, they're kind of just really guarded and soft-spoken, and then you meet them in person and you're like, you're not like that at all. Why don't you be like this on YouTube? And then the exact opposite, people that are like totally out there and like really talkative on YouTube, and then you meet them and they're like, hey. You're like, wow, it's just so different. Like, you just really never know. And so, yeah, I think that generally people, I think it's pretty clear who people are, you know. I think you guys are smart. Have you experienced any horror stories with bad brand deals, etc.? I mean, I've had many companies try to sneakily get me to do undisclosed sponsorships, and that is a huge red flag for me. If a brand asks me to do undisclosed sponsorships or just casually or authentically mention their brand in 4 to 5 videos, absolutely not. I will cancel the sponsorship, hands down, no problem. For me, that's a clear indication that there's some sort of weirdness there. Disclosure is incredibly important for me. If I am doing sponsored content, I want you to know, and I want it to be very clear, open, and honest. I don't want there to be any confusion that like the brand is paying me to talk about their product. What I am saying is truthful, because I do not accept brand deals from companies that I don't like, or if I'm even iffy on their product. I personally like have declined sponsorships with brands that I do love their products because they have a specific product they're looking for me to promote that I'm just not that into. I've had brands reach out to me in incredibly unprofessional ways, and that's a huge red flag for me. Like texting me late at night. They know that I have a management team that I work with that handles all the sponsored stuff. They're stepping, I hate to say chain of command, but at the same time, they know they're stepping over the boundary of like a good relationship with me. They're trying to get me alone so they can say, hey, do you want to work with us? And for me, it may sound shitty, but like I do not deal with that well at all. I do not like it when companies overstep the line and call me without, like I've had companies that just randomly call me and try to coax me into off the cuff shady brand deals on the phone. I don't like that, and don't do that. It's so unprofessional, and it also really, really makes me side-eye the brand, and I just don't like it. I'm not going to sit here and call brands out by name because frankly, there's a lot of them that have done this, but sometimes it is a company that I've worked with before where they're like trying to get me to do just things that are not, I'm not going to do them. I really only want just very clear cut, very clearly disclosed sponsorships. I also want to be able to talk like my normal human self, not sound like a robotic version of myself, just naming off points like this has a VivaShield technology. I'm just using that as an example, but I just want to talk like a normal human to normal people and be honest with my recommendations and reviews and things like that. I've had some companies that don't want that. And so yeah, I'm not about it. I've definitely had weird, shady dealings behind the scenes. It's a slippery slope because I don't want to be that person that's like gossiping and causing problems, but I will let you know that there are definitely companies out there who have asked for some shady things, and either that's when the partnership ended or I said no, or I just quit talking about them altogether, or I don't recommend their product anymore. So I will tell you that I've had some companies that like randomly call me out of the blue, like the people from the brand just like call me and keep me on the phone for a half hour, 45 minutes, like asking me uncomfortable questions, or like texting me late at night, or saying like, hey, don't say anything about this, like this is kind of an under the table deal. And I'm like, dude, no, not me. Maybe somebody else, not me. I don't fuck with that shit at all. Do influencers feel more pressure on their appearance because of the industry they're in? I certainly would think so. Yeah. I mean, I think that there's sort of a standard of beauty, and I think a lot of people feel they need to adhere to that. And it's definitely kind of uncomfortable, especially when you're like at an event or you're around a bunch of other people that really do fit into that and you feel like you're not a part of it. I feel that it's just naturally ingrained in us to want to like look like people that we think are very beautiful, or, I think that especially in the beauty industry, there's sort of like this certain look that a lot of people have. You guys all know what I'm talking about. I actually read an article the other day. I think it was was it Time Magazine? I don't even know who it was. I think it was Time Magazine. It might have been like the New Yorker, but it was about like the Instagram face. And it was definitely a really interesting article talking about how as there has become that certain face that people want to have, more people have been morphing into that, and then it's sort of everyone starts looking very similar. And while it's an incredibly beautiful, beautiful face, it's just sort of become like the face, and sort of everyone sort of looks like one another because there's the same features that a lot of people are getting, kind of the small little button nose, bigger lips, like carved out cheekbones, long hair, really snatched jawline, like all of these things that are sort of like the Kardashian beauty aesthetic that a lot of people are starting to adopt as like what they feel is the standard of beauty. And it does start to feel that way, and I have definitely fallen into that as the years have gone. I'm out of it now. I do not care. I do not want to look like that. No shade to anyone who does. I think they're absolutely stunning, but I think that I enjoy looking unique, and I just enjoy looking like myself at the end of the day. That's all it really comes down to. I just want to look like who I am, but there's definitely that pressure to, get a little bit of lip filler, start getting some filler in your face, and there's no problem with that if that's what you want to do. But I think that anybody who feels that they have to do that, just take a step back and realize, no, you do not. A YouTuber is offering a YouTube starter course for $1,000. Is that greedy? I think so. I have never heard of this. The information could be free. I would wonder what is worth $1,000. What kind of information is that person going to give that other people couldn't get from other places on the internet? That's really, really, really high for, I don't know what that starter course would be and what qualifications that person has to be running this course, because the thing is about YouTube is I can teach you all day long how to have a YouTube channel, but I cannot guarantee your success at all. It is so widely variant on what is going to get people subscribers or followers. You can follow the exact formula of what it takes to be a YouTuber and go nowhere. You can follow that exact same formula as somebody else and have millions of followers in a year. There is no guaranteed way that $1,000 is going to be worth it to me. Maybe I'm speaking off the cuff here and I don't really know what I'm talking about because I don't know who this person is for the $1,000 class. But to me, $1,000 is very hefty price for teaching things like lighting and being yourself and talking about things you're passionate about. That's kind of what being a YouTuber is. Yeah, that's kind of high. I personally wouldn't do that. There's a lot of free information out there that a lot of people have offered in the past about how to get good lighting setups, how to get inexpensive lighting, how to have decent camera settings, and how to, talk to the camera naturally. It honestly, you can pay $1,000 if you want to, but it's going to just come down to practice, time, effort, and a lot of times luck. Like, you can do, again, all of the things that like the formula of YouTube suggests, but at the end of the day, some of the people that you follow just happened to have like a viral video or get recommended more on the recommended YouTube page, or the algorithm really favored them, or they just frankly did it for a really long time and amassed followers slowly. So I personally, just my honest opinion, I think that I would never pay $1,000 unless like there was a guarantee. No, even then, it's like there's so much free information out there. Save your money, and just there are answers out there about all of it. And if you are looking for an answer from somebody, like, I could make a whole video about it free. I'm no expert. I've literally been doing this for 8 years and I have had relatively like consistently decent growth. I've had some growing videos that have shot me up more than others. And that's sort of what YouTube is. If what you're doing isn't working, kind of change it up a little bit, change up your thumbnails a little bit, change up your formula for your YouTube videos, try different content if what you're doing isn't like what you're passionate about or interested in. But to pay somebody $1,000 for that information kind of feels like overkill. This person says how much people actually make from sponsorships, views, etc. Again, this can vary so widely, but I would say like a sponsorship, so say that somebody had like 100,000 followers and they wanted like a non-exclusive YouTube video, it could be like a few $1,000s for a YouTube video. Say that somebody has like 1 million followers and they want a non-exclusive YouTube video and stories, it could be like $50,000 for a YouTube video. That's how much like we're talking in like wide variety of range. And it also isn't like that for every single video either. It could be somebody that like got paid, $6,000 for a 60-second mention on a video and they have 1 million followers, or that same person got offered a partnership that needed more deliverables but they got paid $30,000. It's honestly that variant, and it depends on what the person will accept and wants to accept and what the brand has a budget for, because some brands will come with a budget set and they cannot go over that amount. Some come with a really high budget but want a lot of things, and then you can negotiate it down or up from there. So it so widely varies based on each person. I wish I knew exact figures for everybody. I could only say exact figures for myself, and even then it's so variant, and I just don't really feel comfortable doing that because honestly, speaking about figures and stuff like that, there is no benefit to doing it other than people being curious and wanting to know, because a lot of times speaking about exact figures just makes people look at you one way or the other. Like if it's way lower than you were thinking for me, you might be like, oh God. And then if it's way higher, you're like, oh God. So there's really no winning in that situation. But I can tell you that one of your favorite YouTubers might be making a few $1,000s a month and just being able to afford all their bills and, do everything that they want to do. And some of them might be making literally millions of dollars per month. So it's that variant. Like I wish I could tell you. This person said how to tell if a YouTube guru is fake just by watching their videos. Secret signs, as it were. There's really no way other than your ability to spot fakery and bullshit. I can say for myself personally that some of the people that I really thought were like the realest, when you meet them, you're like, oh, okay. I see how it really is. It's really hard because what I may consider like, nah, I don't like that person. Other people are like, you don't? I love them with my whole heart, and that's my favorite thing about them. So it's really just like what one person might consider like fake, another person might be like, no, that's my favorite part about them. So it's just really kind of personal opinion, and if you like somebody, you can like them. You don't have to listen to what other people say. Even if that isn't the way that they are in real life, like you just have to use your best discretion at that. Someone asked about the use of filters on video. Now, if a lot of you guys didn't know, there are filters that can be put on YouTube videos to smooth skin and to just make things overall look better and smoother and brighter. I do not use those filters, as you guys have seen in all of my videos. Like this is my skin. You can see texture, you can see dryness, you can see pimples, lines, wrinkles, etc. I want you to be able to see what real products look like on my skin, and not in some like unattainable way where you're like, I need to buy that. For me, like, I want you to see what they really look like on my skin. And that's for me because when I'm buying a product, I don't want to see some enhanced version of what that is going to look like on the most perfect skin that exists in this world. I want to see what it's going to look like on somebody like me. So that's why I'm very honest on the internet. I want it to just be very clear and transparent, even if it doesn't make me look that good. If it looks like absolute cracky, dry butthole, that's what it looks like. There are some people out there who do use beauty filters on videos. I've seen it time and time again. There are threads about it on the internet where people are talking about it, and you can see it's hard to spot. Some of them are very, very undetectable, but it's very obvious as well. I've seen somewhere like it'll like flash off halfway through the person doing it. Like they'll be doing their makeup and like their hand will suddenly, like, you'll see all the veins and stuff and you're like, wait, what was that just happened? But it was like smooth in every other shot. Sometimes the filter like glitches and stuff. So I've seen that before. It's really hard and it sucks. I wish people didn't use filters on their videos. There are some people out there that use them on every video and you just think that they have perfect skin. And a lot of them have really, really nice skin, but a lot of people are using filters and some people are unknowingly using them. There are some cameras that have built-in filters. Mine does not, but there are some that do, and some people don't even realize it. They just think that that's the way that they look. There's really no way for you to know. But you can kind of tell when somebody like looks absolutely perfect and flawless in everything, and sort of you can sometimes see like their hairline starts to sort of blend in with their face, or like there's not just like clear lines. A lot of these people are using HD cameras. We're talking cameras that film in 4K. So anything that's like softly blurred lines and hairlines, it could be from depth of field where they have like their depth of field set to like 1.8 or something, and that really only focuses right in the center and then everything else kind of blurs. But sometimes it can also be skin smoothing filters. And so I wish people didn't use them, but alas, I cannot change the world. Person says, do you think companies offer influencers more money in exchange for a flawless review? I don't know if it would be more money. No, I think that companies generally have their budget and things that they want touched on, and they want you to talk about, obviously they want you to give a flawless review to their product, and they're generally not going to pay you if you're like, yeah, this product is only okay. I like it. Because there are like talking points that you need to touch on that the brand wants you to say, like, this is cruelty free. It comes in, 45 shades. There are things that they want you to touch on, but most companies aren't going to let you like shit talk the product in the product review. There's obviously like a reason that you're promoting the product, but they don't like offer you more to be like in love with it. At least from my personal experience, I've never had a brand be like, if you say perfect things, we'll give you more, because generally the review is positive anyway, because you've already tested the product. At least in my way, I have already tested the product. I already know the points about it. I already know what I do and don't like about it. And generally you can make those points as well. Like you can say, this product didn't really work for me. I like it, but I would use this in this way. Or, you can just be very honest. Like there are only a few companies I've ever worked with that are like very difficult and want you to only speak to the very, very positives. And those are companies I generally don't work with anymore. If they were very difficult or very nitpicky or very weird about what they want you to say about their products, instead of it coming off natural and authentic, I'm usually out. How do you have contact with people of YouTube? You don't. YouTube is the least helpful platform I've ever dealt with. I think this will be my final question in regards to brand trips. Someone said, are you obligated to promote certain products if you get invited on a trip with the brand? Yeah, you're not. At least for me, I'm not obligated to promote anything, but you are supposed to post about like the new thing. Like when you're on the trip, you're like, hey, this is what's launching on this trip. Like when everyone went to Amangiri or whatever with Benefit and everybody's posting about the Bad Gal Bang mascara, that's because they're there to post about the Bad Gal Bang mascara. They're not saying they love it or that it's good. I mean, some people might. They don't like ask you to make any claims about it or anything. You're really just to be like, hey, this is what's launching and this is why we're here on this trip with the brand. Like when we were with Tarte and they were launching the Found Sealer, and you're like, hey, this is the Found Sealer. This is how many shades it comes in. This is what's launching. I'll keep trying it out and let y'all know. That's kind of how it works. So just being like, hey, this is what launched while we were here, but you don't have to be like, it's the best thing I've ever used, when you hadn't even used it. So at least that's for me. I think that's going to be the majority of the questions I answer in today's video. I feel like I could have probably structured this video a little better where it's more like concise and set up in categories, but I really just wanted to chat with you guys about some things that you guys wanted to know. I don't feel that this is like some tea or anything, but I do feel that there are some things that personally I love watching videos like this where people answer questions that I've always had about certain certain specific industries or whatever. I wish I could go into like full ass detail, but all it does is make speculation happen more. People start speculating what brands are who, and I really want to avoid that sort of thing. I feel like if we are just more honest across the board about things, honesty has never been a bad thing. I don't know why some people feel that way, but honesty is a good thing. Let's just be open and honest and say how we feel and say how things really are. And I love doing that. There are a lot of questions that I once had that I feel like people really weren't answering. And, you know, it's really annoying to hear answers like ones I gave in this video. Like, it could vary so widely. It could be from $1,000 a month to $500,000 per month. But that is the literal nature of the game. There are no real cut and dry answers here. Say that two people are sitting next to each other and they each have 1 million followers. One of them could be making literally millions of dollars per year, and the other one just be making thousands of dollars per year. There is no set amount that everybody gets paid. It's what people can negotiate. It's what people will and won't do. There are some people that accept every sponsorship that comes to their door. There are some people that accept 1 to 2 a month maximum, no matter what. It just depends on the individual person. And it's so hard to answer these questions in a very concise and roundabout way because things can vary so widely. I kind of hate those type of answers, but it's so true. And I just want to answer the questions as honestly as I can. And I would love to know if there are any videos you guys would want to see more like singular things. Like if there's one video that you guys just want about one topic in general. I mean, on this one, I discussed like rates and brand trips and partnerships and things like that. I wish I could sit here and like open up contracts and show you exactly what people are wanting and what brands are asking for and how that whole thing goes around. I can only speak for myself. And I know that some people are like so different from me. I only really will do like 2 sponsorships in a month. I'm very, very hesitant to do any more. Sometimes I have done more and I feel like it gets overkill, even though I do upload videos quite often. I really like to have a lot of videos in between sponsored content so it doesn't feel like you're just being sold to all the time. I only accept brands that I really like personally and that I've used those products and feel like I know how to use them and how to talk to you guys about them and what I do and don't like about the products and make recommendations to you from there. And, you know, I can only talk for myself, but, you know, it varies widely and you just have to know who to trust and who you like and go with your gut. All right, well, that is it for this video. I hope you guys like this video. I know that sometimes these can kind of come off, I don't know. I like watching them. I saw a video from Whitney Hedrick recently. She was discussing parasocial relationships and she was also discussing like, is the beauty industry on its last legs? And I really like those. I'm gonna link them either up here or down in the description. I don't know how many iCards I can leave up here. I really like these style of videos where people are sitting down and they're just chatting about different industry things or about different things that they think about. I know that Tiffany Ferg does videos as well where she discusses things like internet analysis, where she's talking about just like the different ways that things are on the internet. I love videos like that. They've always been my favorite. Videos where people are chatting about different things that are beyond just the makeup products themselves. I really love deep diving into those topics. So if you guys like these style of videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to be doing more of them. I always say that. And then I sort of, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm not that educated. If there's anything that you guys want me to dive deeper into or you feel like I have any sort of insight or information into, I definitely can do that if you guys are interested. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for participating if you guys did ask a question or give a topic to talk about in this video. And I thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you at my next video. Bye! Give like, just depending on what app. For me, I told that joke twice. Don't judge me, Zach. I like turtles. I just simply talk to somebody who or they just